Good morning, everyone. Give me a minute here. Get this pulled up. There we are. Morning, Chris. Nice to have you with me today. Got ready to go for the big night of Chris, of cooking, all the big cooking for the tomorrow. It is one of the perks of having this done early. With Thanksgiving early, I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. And that is kind of a nice feeling. All right, I'm trying to get everything situated here. So it may be a few people today. I don't know. We'll just kind of play it by ear and see. We had quite a few yesterday. You're going to start cooking this afternoon. All right. So you're doing the whole full turkey, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, dressing, all of that stuff. We had leftovers last night, and we're going to have them leftovers tomorrow. And we're happy with that for Thanksgiving. It's going to work. But we had a really good time with all the kids there, and everybody got there. So there is my project from last night that I wanted to share again this morning. I was trying to come up with something different. And this is an item that is actually available on the retirement list, but it's actually on sale for 40% off. Not the bundle price, not ordering it by a bundle, but ordering it just as a separate stamp set and a separate die cut. It's 40% off. So it's like, I don't know, maybe $15 cheaper than the actual bundle price. So we'll come back to this later on, but I thought this turned out so stinking cute. Love it. So today I want to do this card, and it may be a really small group, but I know that I have people that are coming back in later because they were running shopping and doing some stuff. So we're going to go on ahead and get this going here. And then Jim and I have a date to go and plant daffodil bulbs. Oh boy. So this is a card that I shared with my team last week, and I wanted to show you how I put it together. But instead of doing it with this one, and this is a new stamp set that is available online called Feathered Friends, instead of using this card, I'm going to share with you the one that I use with my Techniques group back in November. I wanted to do a fun fold, but I'm kind of getting past the Christmas. I'm ready to kind of move on into spring. So you're starting to see some things that are not as much Christmas for me. And this is a stamp set and a die paper that we received for online or on stage when we did it earlier in November. And we could order this from the new spring catalog coming. And I thought this was really a fun pattern, and I thought we would just play with this one. So I used this one to create my fun fold card for the technique class. So I'm going to recreate it and show you how I went about it. I do want to be up front. These bees are not ones that will be available. These are a retired item that I had, but I was trying to, I didn't want to put the bumblebee punch on here. It was really big. And compared to the bumblebee punch, I wanted something that was small. So I pulled these out. So do not expect these gold bumblebees to be on there. You never know when they might pop up, though, on a clearance or something. Good morning, Jana. Nice to have you with us, too. Are you and Robert ready to have a quiet Thanksgiving, be at home together for a few days? So we're going to go on ahead, and we're going to start with this paper. And even though I believe this is Sweet Sorbet, I think the paper was Sweet Sorbet and Petal Pink. I chose to use Real Red on this one. And I don't think you can tell really much difference between them. Hey, Mary, nice to have you with us. I got to send you card tutorials too. Now that you're here, it made me think of it. So I'm going to start with mats that I have that are real red and a petal pink mat. And we're going to start with a white one. And that white one is the one that we're going to actually start with first. Okay? So this card does not actually have a full card base. It is only a back mat, so to speak. So would it stand up? Probably no, not at all. Okay, morning, Doris. Nice to have you with us this morning. So we're going to start with this mat of white. And I needed a couple of strips. And I will put my measurements out there, my PDF. I think it's Friday is when I'm going to post it. I can kind of turn this over if I can see if I have a clean spot. Oh, kind of dirty, but it'll work. So I can kind of give you an idea right now. So these should be 3/4 of an inch, which they are, by exactly 4 inches, okay? And I needed 2 of them. I'm gonna take my tape and I'm gonna run this right along the edge of the end of this mat of white. So the mat of the white is 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and I'm going to do the very same thing at the top with the other one. All right. Is there any there? It looks to me like there's a little cut spot, but I don't really see scissors. Let me see if I find some. So I was having problems with my Fiskars paper cutter, and they have replaced it, but it has not arrived yet, and it's getting bad because it is now falling, and if I didn't watch it, it would fall and cut a finger off. So I am desperately needing my paper cutter to show up. Once I have those 2 stripes on, morning Arla, I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to put my white on my petal pink. And then I'm going to stop with that. Okay, we're going to stop with that. Now we have the flaps, and the flap is 3 1/2 by 4, but then it is scored at 1/2 inch. And I have then the piece that goes on it. Where is it at? Here it is. This piece goes on it. And then this one goes on top of that. And I want to make sure that I do not get my stripes going the wrong direction. Always double check to make sure that your papers, if there's a special run to the paper, that everything is the same. I mean, wouldn't that look awful if I had this turned? So always be cautious of that. So let's go on ahead and put this on. So if that was 3 1/2, then I know that this is 3 3/8, and I know that my DSP is 3 1/4. Okay. I'm going to put that on here. This is a really fast card too. You have that 1/2 inch over here scored, so you want to make sure you don't start too far over. Okay, and I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to fold that, and I'm going to score it. I'm going to score it pretty good. It's a good thing I have a manicure next week because my nail broke yesterday. All right, so there's that one. And then this has a double flap. So now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we have a smaller square. This one is 3 by 3 1/2. So this one was 3.5 by 4. This one is 3 by 3.5. And then we have the same thing. We have the 2 petal pink and the DSP. Put this on here. So I hope everyone's ready for Thanksgiving. I still have my Christmas cards from my card classes. Whereas most of you, when you came and you did like 2 of every card, I have 10. And so I'm still working on them. They're all stamped and they're all put in a binder, ready to go. So all I have to do is start pulling things out and putting them together. Again, I want my stripes going the right direction, up and down. And then I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to score it or crease it. Okay. Now, let's look at this. Before I put this onto the red, I want to get the flaps attached. And I'm going to put my flaps, so if you look, you want the folded piece, that 1/2 inch strip on the outside, because I'm going to slide this one in and I'm going to glue that to the back right along the flap and then press it down. And I'm going to do the very same thing with this one, and it overlaps like so. Okay? My stripes actually aren't too far off meeting either, matching. Almost there. So I turn these over and I'm going to put the adhesive on the inside. So when I lay it down and press down, it is going to be adhered to the back of the petal pink. Oh, that'll be fun. You know, Jonna, go in with it. This is a new step for you, but just go into it and just enjoy visiting with people and telling them about what you do, telling them about your card ministry at Ween and how I think people will be very supportive of you. Thinking of you. I am bringing soda and Cool Whip. They don't let me cook. Arla's taking soda and Cool Whip to her Thanksgiving dinner because they don't want her to cook. Oh, that's funny. All right, now I have got my adhesive on this side. I want to make sure that this little white strip and this little white strip are about the same. Okay. And I slide it in like so and get it tight. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing. You're making signs today and ironing the tablecloth. Yep. Oh, we had knit tablecloths, so I never had to. I just polyester knit. I just ran and pulled them off the hanger, and I never had to iron them, thank goodness. All right. So here we go. And now I've got a little bit more. I've got to kind of check to make sure that this little section and this section are about the same. I need to also check to make sure this little line and this little line are about the same. And then I press it down like so. Okay. Now, once I have the flaps on, then I can actually finish the card. It's amazing how fast this goes together. So I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to run my adhesive over it. Those flaps are there. They should be good and tight, but just in case, I want to make sure, and I'm going to put a good amount of adhesive on this card. And now I match it up to the actual mat of the back, the real red, which could have also been sweet sorbet. Okay, so there it is, okay? Now, let's look at the stamp set first. This one is the new Valentine one that's coming out in January. And that's going to be one of the first things you want to think about. If you're going to be sending Valentines when you get your Christmas catalog, that's the first thing you want to be placing an order for. Because as soon as you can get those in, you'll have them here and you'll be able to make your Valentines. This one is Be Mine. You're as sweet as honey. I love you no matter what. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 faces for the bee. We have a line that I'm going to show you how I used. Happy Valentine's Day. You'll always be the one for me. Some hearts. Honeycomb. Then you have You Make My Heart Buzz. Love You. This one here would be the back part of your bee, like a yellow. If you wanted yellow bumblebee, you would have this as yellow. And then you would turn around and make this one black. So it would overlay this. And there is a punch that coordinates to punch out the bee. It also can be the head of the bee. You can also, you have wings here. So you don't have to just use the wings that go on the punch. I think there are wings on the punch. You have another heart. You have a couple of little flowers. So there's several little components in here that you can use and change it up to make it for other things besides Valentine. The paper has honeycomb paper. I think the colors are Daffodil Delight, Pool Party, Sweet Sorbet, Petal Pink. Because there were some blue little flowers too. So, all right. So I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to start first with the little dotted line. I'm just going to show you this because I already have this stamped. So I took a circle from the Stylish Shapes with the stitching on it. If it says it's got stitching, it's going to automatically be in my craft room because I love everything that has stitch marks. These are not, this is more, instead of stitch marks, these are more just tiny little dots in the paper like they are pinpricks. We used to have paper piercing mats and things that we could do this with. Now they build it into these things. So when I did this, and if you remember how it looks online, on my card, I first inked it up with black and I stamped it this way. So I had my curlicue. I wanted my curlicue to be visible. But I only wanted one curlicue. I didn't want another curlicue. So I re-inked my stamp and I turned it around. And I used the end to stamp this one. So you get one curlicue, rotate, and you can get a different look with the same stamp. Okay? All right, so and then I also had a decorative circle punch. This is like one of my absolute go-to punches. I have this one. This is the decorative circle punch. It pairs with so many things. You can use it on the top surface. If you look over here on this one, that's what I did. I used it for the white. And then I turned around and I just found another circle punch or die that I could make that's a little bit smaller to give it a matted look. This time I'm reversing it. I'm going to put the circle on top and the red scallop is going to be the one on the bottom. Okay? So I'm going to go on ahead and let's put some dimensionals here. So I was telling them today in my post when you're reading, we have deer everywhere. We actually, our street, Oak Hill Drive, is actually the driveway to a turn-of-the-century mansion. What was it? Theodore Getty, I believe was his name. Theodore Getty is actually the man who invented the dial for the telephone. And he built this mansion. I said the turn of the century. That's not right. It's dated a little bit later than that. And it's actually owned by a lady out in California who has connections to Macon. It was her hometown. She doesn't get to come back here very often. And her husband he's the producer. He was the producer of The Godfather. So that mansion is at the top of my hill, of my street. And we have about 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess there's 5 houses on this street. Theodore Gary, that's it. They divided out the housing and they sold lots, but like the golf course is behind. And the golf course, the public golf course, is actually the golf course that was with the mansion when he built his mansion. And the Macon Lake, which is now part of the city, the Macon Lake was built, and it kind of goes around the front of the mansion. And it was built, he built it to water the golf course. So it's like a lot of history here. So the deer roam everywhere. And it just drives me nuts. Not to drink, but nuts. Because they eat everything. And they think their yard, you think my yard is theirs? They've been in the middle of my water garden streams. They are just kind of, they're not afraid of us either. They look at us like, what are you doing on my property? So anyhow, all right, so we have these little bees, and I'm going to put those here. These were from a couple of years ago, but they were on clearance, and who knows if they ever show back up on clearance. You never know. Things pop up that you'd think are already gone. So I'm going to take those, and I'm just going to use those with a glue dot, and I'm going to put that on here at the end of that little dot. And somewhere the bumblebee went. Oh, there it is. And I'm going to put that here. Like so. All right, now let's go back inside and let's stamp something and we'll be done. And then I get to go plant daffodils because the deer hate daffodils. They're poisonous. So we have a lot of daffodils. So we're going to start with Happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to pull that one. And while I'm at it, let's take this one back off and put it back on here. And I have to be very careful because I want to make sure that nothing shows anywhere on that white where those strips are. Okay? So I'm going to start with my Happy Valentine's Day, and it's really a fun one. If you look at it, there is no rhyme or reason to the way it is, and you don't have to worry if it's absolutely perfect straight because it's kind of all scripted, hand scripted, and there it is. Then we have these little teeny tiny hearts. They have big hearts, but I have this little teeny tiny heart. We're going to go with that. We're just going to poke those right there. And there's my card for today, guys. I don't even know what you would call it. I don't know if it's we've already used the word flip-flap card. It's like a double flaps, double gate, double whatever. We can just make it whatever you want. If you have a good idea, name it. But there is my card. This is using the new Valentine paper coming and the Valentine stamp set coming. Remember, my bees are not available, but I have a few. And if you actually wanted some, you have to just let me know and I can throw a couple in for you. All right, so there's this card. There was the one I shared with my team last week. One more thing, and then I'm done. So I told them last night, this is my sampler that I made, my shadow box. These would make cute cards too. If you think about it, you could take this block and then put it on top of a red mat that's been embossed with like the happy Christmas and the gingerbread boy and all that embossing folder, or even just the snowflake one would be really cute. Would be really, really cute. And just put them instead in carts. So here, extended gatefold. I like that, Chris. That's clever. Extended gatefold. A little more different than the other ones. Thank you, Jonna. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you too. If you place an order with me, these are going to be, I will send you the mats for everything here down to this large pecan pie. I cannot send this paper. That paper has to be bought. I cannot do that for you. But I can get all of those mats for you, and I will send you a tutorial. So anyhow, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Happy Turkey Day. Have a wonderful time. And let me remember to tell you that I am very thankful for each and every one of you that come and share your time with me. You are very, very valuable to me. You're very treasured, and I appreciate your friendship and your love. And I wish you the best this holiday season. Take care. Bye-bye.